Page 11, A Prism Lantern in the Sun. On this page, we're going crazy with sharps. We're in the key of B major. B major has 5 sharps, and you can see them in the key signature. Now it's time to go do my scale video on B major. And go ahead and do the arpeggio, at least 1 octave up and down, so you're kind of getting a feel for this key. Now you'll know within an octave, there's only 5 black keys. And yes, we're using them all. So that means there's 2 white keys. Otherwise, you're playing black keys out. And the 2 white keys, in case you're wondering, is the E and the B. The only white keys you're doing unless they put in a natural sign, but yeah, otherwise that's it. So let's go through my routine for learning a piece of music. I look it over, I see it's 1 page long. Treble and bass clef. 5 sharps, we're in the key of B major, we've already discussed that. 4/4 time signature, I see quarter notes and eighth notes, and nothing strange with the rhythm here. There's no 16th notes. The only dotted rhythm might be a dotted half note. We've had those forever. Hopefully you can do those. Right hand first, I have some suggestions here. See, fingering is a personal thing, although there's some bad fingering habits. And I would like to adjust this fingering just a little bit. Although the fingering in the book is fine, if you want to use it, you go right ahead. But I don't want to start here. They're starting here in this position. It's very handy. It's just for the notes in the piece that doesn't work very well. I want to start with thumb on here. So it's going to be here in this position. Doesn't look as nearly as comfortable, but again, considering the notes in the piece, I like this better. So it's going to be a 2, 1. So I can come out here. This way on the second measure, I just reach up to the octave. I can reach it. If you're on 2 here, you got to move up. And that's why I don't want to do that. And then come back down 2, 1. Now in the second line, second measure, now we got to come down to the 1, 3. Just come down a bit. Here, I'll show you an advanced fingering technique you can try. Now, if you're struggling, forget this. But if you're doing pretty well, consider this, because you're going to need this technique eventually. And that's called a finger substitution. I'm going to play this is the second line, second measure. I'm going to play the F sharp with second finger and immediately put thumb on it. I'm just slide up and put thumb on it. So I substituted 1 finger for another. This allows me to reach that. And then come back down. Anytime I have that E, I got to come down to this position. And then in the third line here, I don't need to use second. Since I'm not playing an E, I can go ahead and use thumb on that. And then I'm back to the 2. And the third line, second measure, 2, like it was at the beginning. Yeah. The last line, you're here. And now we can just stay here. And then the left hand gets the last note. That's what the LH is for. Speaking of left hand, well, they want you here, 4 and 2. It's fine. Second line, second measure, you got to reach down for the 5. Now you can, if you want, use 3 and 2 here, because you're on here and this is easier to reach. Otherwise, you got to move up. I'd prefer not to. So I'm going to use 3 and 2 there when the F sharp's involved. But then in the third line, second measure, now I can go back to their fingering, 4 and 2. So I'm just going from here to here. Last line, you're here. Remember that's it's a A sharp. It's in the key signature. And then right here, and then here. It's kind of awkward no matter how you do it. I could do a 5, 4, and then a 2, 3, and stay out here. But then I got to come down for the B anyway. So if you can, go ahead and use that. Here, come up here and down. And then the whole note at the end, any figures you want to play, I don't care. And the last measure, the left hand plays that D sharp. It's a D sharp. It's in the key signature. It's a D sharp. Yeah. So we put the hands together and hesitate all over, don't care. I just want to know which fingers are working together. We're here, and then here, then here, and then here. Do that. So you go through and put the hands together. I already did. Work it out slowly, and then go back through the tough spots and work out the hesitations. You know, you look down at the keyboard when you have to because you're moving around a little bit, but don't look at the keyboard any more than you have to. And we think about the articulation. Well, this is very connected. And the left hand, there's nothing but just connect the left hand as best you can. You can't, but try and do it. Good, try it. Pretend you can. The right hand has the phrasing. Lift up. Lift up. Lift up. Just like taking a breath is all. For the phrases, yeah. Then the dynamics, P at the beginning, and this is pretty much the only one you get till the end. Piano is soft. That's the melody here. Whatever you think soft is, it depends on your situation and all. You decide what soft is. This left hand needs to be in the background, very soft. So I'm sort of light in the right hand, I'm soft, and I'm very light in the left hand. And the whole thing is about like that. And the last two measures, you go down to very soft. Left hand's super soft. You just... I tend to want to slow down a little bit. That's part of interpreting the music. There's nothing marked to slow down. There's no retard. But I feel it a retard, so I did. And when you come up here, that note should match what the right hand is doing. It should sound like one hand played all of that. So this part is really in the background, but then this is the same as the right hand. Then the speed on Andantino. Oh, we're back to Andantino again. The last book just loved Andantino. Just a nice, pleasant. Huh? See, you don't want the quarter notes to go too slow. They'll drag. But you don't want the eighth notes to go too fast. So you find a speed that works for both. And it's the same speed throughout. Whatever you feel Andantino might be. Now they've added pedal. And let's talk about this pedaling. There's keeping it simple for you, but I have real problems in the way they're doing it. You'll learn a piece without pedal first so you can hear what the fingers are doing and what it sounds like. So when you add the pedal, you can hear the difference between them. So if I pedal it the way they're suggesting, this is what it sounds like. The notes go down first and then the pedal. And I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand, or the left hand. When I lift the left hand up, I'll lift the pedal up with it. The right hand's connected, it stays down. And at the end of the third measure, I'm going to lift it for the phrase so I hear silence. Now in the third measure, they're overlapping this one. I don't know what they're doing here exactly. In my mind, I would overlap it and only lift it for the phrases. So it's like in the first measure, I would pedal that the same as the third measure here. Lift up. Lift up. Lift up. So I'm only lifting up for the right hand phrases. Now you have to listen carefully to hear the difference. So I want you to be aware of the difference here in the first line, the difference in sound between the first measure and the third measure, because it's the same notes, different pedaling. First measure. Third measure. The difference is you can hear silence in the left hand. length their way, and you get it's connected. Legato here. That's the difference. And in my mind, I like it connected. I think this is a very smooth, gentle piece, so I want this connected. So I'm going to legato pedal the whole thing and only lift up for the phrases in the right hand. So we get a little silence there. Then at the end, the fermata, the hold, you hang that out, hold that out for a while, and just let the sound die away, and then lift the hands and the pedal at the same time when you're ready. Now, just for kicks and giggles, I'll show you another pedaling technique. When you have a piece like this that's gentle and soft throughout, and you have the hold at the end, and it's dying away, what you can do, well, the effect, and I've heard teachers do this. It'll be here, they'll be doing this, and then all of a sudden, they just, it's like an accent whenever it's going, and then suddenly there's nothing. It's like going over a cliff. Well, on an acoustic piano and on some electronic keyboard, you have to experiment on yours if you have an electronic keyboard. If you slowly lift the pedal up, the dampers slowly touch the strings and the sound slowly dies away. So at the last two measures bottom here. Here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift the key up first. So I'm not pushing any keys down. I'm going to leave my hand here. And then I'm slowly going to lift the pedal, and the sound just dies away. If you get buzzing, then you have your technician, your piano tuner technician, check your hammers. You should not get buzzing because you do this. The damper should gradually touch the strings. And if you have an electronic keyboard and it doesn't do this, lift the pedal and it dies away, then you can always reach up to the volume control and gradually turn it down and make it die away that way. Whatever works is fine.